Hi, Nikki, the communication coach here. How are you all? I hope you've had a good week. It's Friday here in the UK, going into the weekend now. And I'm going to follow on from the persuasion video that I did on Monday and talk really about self-persuasion, because sometimes I think that we are very good at looking out for other people and not so great at looking out for ourselves. And we get tied up in words that inhibit us. So I'm just going to cover a couple of examples around what you can do to help yourself get over some challenges and what words are very disempowering in my experience and opinion. So the first word I'm going to look at is can't. So when you say to yourself, I can't do this, what you're doing is you are not giving your brain an alternative option. You're kind of putting another barrier straight in front of you. So you're saying, I can't do this. So you get faced with a challenge and then you create another challenge. So you give yourself two challenges to try and get over. Whereas if you said to yourself, how can I do this? Or what can I do to be able to do this, your brain will automatically start to look for alternative answers for you. So instead of having the blockage of a path, the other ways start to open, especially if you verbalize it out loud or use somebody as a sounding board to reflect back your language, because it's been shown that when we talk out loud and externalize rather than keep things going around in our own minds, it helps us to see other paths that are already there that we haven't been able to see before. So change I can't to how can I, or what can I do. Another word is I should. I should do that. If you change the word I should to I could, again, you're making yourself have more options. So let's try that. I should do that. I could do that. Now, I'm not deliberately trying to say it in a different tone. Give it a go yourself. I shall try and say them in the same tone. I should do that. I could do that. And I could opens up opportunities again, because it's about what you could do rather than what you should do. And should do sometimes is us unconsciously living into somebody else's values and beliefs. And by that I mean that when you're saying I should do that, it's something that you don't really want to do, but you feel that you should do it. So it's doing something for somebody else. I hope that makes sense. The other thing about should is we often say to people, you should do that. If I were you, you should do that. And what we're doing there is we're putting our values and belief system onto other people. Whereas if we said you could do that, we are offering them a choice, an option. So they are constantly in control of their own actions, which makes life a lot better for them and helps people to be able to see a way forward according to their values and beliefs rather than our agenda. So changing should to could. The other words are need and want. So when you say I need to do that, what you're telling yourself is it's something that you need to do rather than want to do. So it comes with a bit of a caveat, and you're less likely to do it if you need to do it rather than if you want to do it. Now, we often say things like, I'm going to take weight loss specifically around this, because we often say I need to lose weight. So rather than saying I need to, what is it that you want? What is your end goal? And you'll say, well, I want to be slimmer, but there'll be a reason behind that as well. So is it because you want to get into a new pair of jeans? You want to feel better about yourself? You don't like the way you look in the mirror? What is it you want to do? So you want to get slimmer to be able to fit into the jeans. So do you see the difference? So I need to lose weight. I want to be able to get slimmer to fit into a pair of jeans. So when you are hit with I need to lose weight and you go into a habit of having a chocolate biscuit because you're tired and hungry, that is harder to get over if it's a need. If it's a want and it's a motivator for you and it's something that you strongly believe in, then you're more likely to do it, and your brain will consciously help you to do that rather than have a need. And also when we need to do things, again, it is about living in somebody else's values and beliefs rather than ours. Ours are our wants. I want to do this, you know, and like people will say that to you, you need to do this. Well, actually, no, I don't need to do this. And you might find yourself having that automatic reaction, that defensive reaction when somebody says, you need to do this. I'm not so sure that I do, your brain might be saying. But when somebody says you could do this, or have you considered this, it's very different. It's not that direct order that we push against if it's not our idea. So there are a couple of words that will help you. Now, also, I just quickly want to talk about fear and change. I'm doing some seminars in the future On the 25th of November in St Neots at Real Fit, I'll be doing a seminar around breaking habits, and I've been doing lots of research as well as my own experience over the last 10 years around what are our habits and why is it so difficult to break. And one of the things that I've been looking at is fear, and breaking that down into what are we actually fearful of. Now, there are several things that we are very fearful of. One of them is looking completely stupid in front of other people. One of them is success. One of them is failure. Sometimes we want to fit in, so it's the fear of not belonging. But fears are about the unknown. So we like to be in control as well. That's the other thing. The other thing about us is we like to be in control. If you just think of a time in your life when you haven't been in control, and all the emotions that stirs up within you, and how uncomfortable it can feel when you're not in control, especially if somebody else is in control. And so it's about taking control back a little bit. And so dealing with fear, a fear of the unknown. So let me give you a classic example. When I was very young, I had to jump off a diving board in the Police Cadets. And it was a very tall diving board, and I didn't realise that I didn't want to do it until I got up there and looked down and thought, this is not so great. I'm not so happy about being up here. So the fear was the initial taking of the step off. Then the fear is what's going to happen when I hit the water. Then the fear is what's going to happen, how am I going to get to the surface? So they're all the unknowns. And once you've done it, you know that you can do it. And the fear either subsides a little bit, or you mentally can say, well, actually, I've done it before, and I can now use my experience. I can draw on my experience of jumping off the diving board and nothing happened to me before. So have a think about that as well. What are you fearful of? When you get nervous, when you are looking at changing, a lot of time when people have to deal with change, they're very fearful. Have a think about what generates fear for you, and what is that trigger. Because if you can identify the trigger that is causing the fear in the first place, then you can start to deal with the fear. And if you look at the words of when you say I can't, is it linked to a fear? And is it linked to the unknown? So I can't do that. Or if you change it to what can I do, does the fear become less because you're then prepared for it? So when we prepare ourselves a lot more, we can start to diminish the fear. I hope all of that makes sense. I shall leave you with that over the weekend. So the words are I can't, I need, I want, I should, and I could. And please leave any comments. Thank you again for listening and watching in. I really appreciate all your feedback. And let me know how you get on with that, and if there's anything else that I can help with you. Okay, have a great weekend, and I'll speak to you next week.